From the Madison County Record, November 29th, 1962. In the hills of Madison County, in the Weathers community between Red Star and Kingston, is an old abandoned farm which can scarcely be found due to the thick growth of timber covering the hillside acres. But one reminder of the past, when the place was occupied and on which a family was reared, still remains. This is the enduring rock fence that on this particular place was constructed by the owner, the late A.J. Pennington, who sold and abandoned the farm in 1920. Strings of these old rock fences along the bench fields still remain intact as when they were constructed, many of them more than half a century ago. A group of the late Mr. Pennington's children recently paid a visit to their childhood home. Two of these, Mrs. Laura McCaleb of Lindsay, Oklahoma, and Mrs. Martha White of Salisaw, were married in the old long residence, now long gone. During their courting days, they had a practice of sitting on a huge boulder near the house and there doing their courting. This rock was dubbed the Sparking Rock, as in those days courting was sometimes referred to as sparking. These two elderly ladies readily found while visiting the place the Sparking Rock in its accustomed place and had their picture made sitting on the rock that undoubtedly could tell some romantic tales if it possessed the faculty of speech. Mrs. White, the younger, was married there in 1911, and Mrs. McCaleb about 9 years earlier. This was the first visit here for either of them in more than 40 years. They had two questions they constantly asked while driving over the hills in the vicinity of their former home. Why is the country so grown up with timber? And where are all the people? These questions were understandable since years ago the country was more thickly settled and many farms now abandoned kept the countryside from being overgrown with timber.